Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. A massive welcome to What's on West Midlands with me, Philip Solomon. And it's here, October has arrived, hasn't it? And, I've had a good look, see what I can come up with some things to recommend for you, which I think you would go along and enjoy. I hope so. I don't get you the ticket prices and all the contacts. I think my role on this particular YouTube channel is just ready to come up with places that might be of interest to you. I'll give you a little tip though. If you live in the Black Country, there's a great little magazine that you can get every week, and and there's one for Bilston. It's called the magazine. It's free. You can collect it at the newsagent or even request a copy, I think. But they do Bilston, Willenhall, uh, all over really, Walsall, I think. I think they do every town. Bilston, Wolverhampton, Wolverhampton. And it's a great little magazine and it's absolutely free. If you watch out for it and you're interested, as I am, in things that are all coming up to be enjoyed, well, it's certainly there for you as well. And you can, a lot of people advertise in there as things that they do locally. I really like it. I think it's a great little magazine. I really do. I'm just looking at the Bilston one today, and it's the publisher and the editor is a very good friend of mine, Simon Archer. Interviewed him on the past several times on my radio show, and yeah, it's great. It's a great little magazine, and it sort of covers all these different areas, I suppose sort of focusing particularly on the one that might cover your area. I live just on the edge of in Wolverhampton, really, in the edge of Wolverhampton. So it's very, I suppose I get the Bilston one or perhaps the Willenhall one. It's very interesting. Of course, the other thing that I would absolutely recommend to you, and it's not that expensive really, is the Birmingham What's On magazine. You can pay a small subscription and have it sent to you every month. I don't think it's very expensive, but I thoroughly recommend it. It's really good. I don't think it's very expensive, really, at all. But if you make a little note of that, I thoroughly recommend them. I think it's a great magazine to have every month because it gives you so many fantastic ideas of loads and loads of things that are on. Hence, why do I do this show once a month? Well, to try and come up with things that I think might be really interesting to you. And here's one or two of the things that I've come up with that I hope might catch your interest. If they don't, there isn't too much I can do about it, is there really? But I'm just looking at one or two of the notes that I've made. And yeah, just bear with me a minute. Bear with me a minute. We'll see what we can come up with. Okay. As usual, I've lost my list. Bear with me. I'll get there in the end. I will get there in the end. That's an old saying, isn't it? I'll get there in the end. But you do, don't you, in the end? Anyway, I think I'll remember most of them anyway. Well, Birmingham Town Hall, if you've got an evening to spare, you've got my old friend, Lulu. She's been very much in the news at the last couple of weeks as well, hasn't she? Over some revelations. I'm not going to go into that, but fantastic artist, wasn't she? I think she had her first hit record when she was about 15, you know, and been sort of carrying on and performing ever since. And that would be a good evening. It's a really nice venue, the Birmingham Town Hall, so put that one in your diary. Another one that I found interesting, it's called the Elvis World Tour that they've gone on the 7th of October at the Wolverhampton Grand Theatre. Now, obviously, it ain't going to be Elvis himself, but looking at it, it sounds as though it's going to be a very interesting sort of show. And I suppose so many fans of Elvis, so many tributes, isn't there, really? Even me, at one time I used to do, yeah, just for care homes and things like that, a bit of a Elvis tribute and a Billy Fury tribute. Quite good at singing Billy Fury songs. I remember his lovely mom saying that my voice was very close to Billy, but I only ever sung like myself, really. But there you go. And Elvis, the Elvis World Tour. You can, if you're interested in that, no doubt Elvis fans, you'll look into that and check that one up. Another one that I picked up that I thought might be very interesting to you guys is the Ukulele Orchestra of Great Britain. And on Wednesday the 8th, they're going to be at the Warwick Arts Centre, Coventry. I've played ukuleles for years and years and years, not so much recently, but I was quite good at one time. But I was always a massive, massive fan of George Formby when I was a little lad, and I've actually got quite a collection of things to do with George Formby. Um, Videotapes of his shows. I've still got a couple of ukuleles, bit special mine, but I won't too much into detail, but quite good instruments. I'm sure I could soon pick it up again if I sort of decided that I want to. But they're great. The ukulele orchestra of Great Britain, they're great. You'll have a big shock if you go to see them because they are fantastic. And that's on at the 8th of October at Warwick Arts Centre, Coventry. So you have to pop down the motorway to that one if you're over in the Black Country or Birmingham. You still have to do that one, Jeff. Another event that's coming up at the Grand on the 9th, that's the very next night to the Elvis thing, and it's called The Magic of Motown. And that's on Thursday, the 9th of October at Wolverhampton Grand Theatre. If you loved all the Motown music, who didn't? I used to do a show, on Pulse Talk Radio called, what was it? Oh, gosh, the years roll by, don't they? Philip Solomon's Motown and Soul Weekend, some think of that title. And my gosh, it was popular. We used massive, massive listenership to that show every Friday, only for an hour. And the Four Tops, pardon me, the Temptations, all those sort of fantastic artists, Joanna Ross, absolutely great. Now, none of those, no, most of those artists have gone now, haven't they? But yeah, it'll be a good show then, and I think you'll enjoy that. Nice theatre, the Grand, always has a lovely atmosphere. Now, another one that you might like to look out for, the Boomtown Rats on the 11th, are at the Symphony Hall, Centenary Square. Another lovely, lovely venue. And what can you say about Bob? We all remember the Live Aid thing, and I think they were one of the more respected sort of bands of that type of music, weren't they? I suppose you would call it punk music, wouldn't you? That sort of music, really. But they were quite good, and he's been an incredibly good man, hasn't he, to the world? I hope it is Bob. I've told you that. I hope it is Bob with the, and not another sort of situation. Check all these things out. I only just look for things that, oh gosh, I think that might interest my fans. Now, on the 11th of October, over at Solihull, you've got another guy that I've interviewed quite a few times, and he's a fantastic guitar player, Andy Fairweatherlow. Now, you probably remember him for those songs like, when he used to do, I'm just trying to think what they were called. He was proper little mod, wasn't he? And I always just seemed to like sing outside of his mouth. I don't know why, but they had some great songs, didn't they? Very, very nice. But nowadays, he's perhaps more even recognised as the great musician he is, and he is a fine guitar player. He really is. So that might be something for you to go and have a look at. I hope you find. I hope you think it's worthwhile me coming up with these ideas for you. I'm sure you're quite capable of finding things that you really want for yourself, but I don't know. I just do my best to come up with some things that will be interesting for you. And I think it's better how we do this now as a monthly format. I was doing it every week, and I know some of you definitely enjoyed it, but you did make the comment that a lot of things lap over, don't they? Over 7 days, a lot of the shows are still running, well, they're still relevant. So we do it once a month now, and I think that's a better way to do it. Comedy. Now, if you like Joe Lycett, well, I think he was on TV the other evening. I think there's something that he was doing in the King of Birmingham. I don't know about that, but Joe Lycett and Friends, and that's on the 14th at the Glee Club, Birmingham. a lot of comedy things on there really, and it's always great fun. Well, the next night at the same at the is it the same? No, there should be the Core Theatre in Solihull. You've got Johnny Cowell, does a lot of black country comedy and whatnot. Very funny man. Can be again a bit near to the bone occasion. To be honest, if you don't mind me saying so, Johnny. But if you go wrong, and I'm sure there's nothing too offensive. And he's a good comedian. He's very interesting. Right. Well, I suppose we're moving on now in October and ever more moving towards the end of the month, and all the sort of ghosts and ghouly things will be on, won't they? I always used, years ago, I used to do the famous Robin 2 Club in Bilston round about Halloween week. But and it used to be packed out. Whenever I played the Robin in Bilston, always packed out. But we used to do something very, very special for the Halloween week. I've got a lot of haunted objects in my possession. You've probably already heard me tell you many times about the haunted painting and the clown and all that sort of things. I've got a lot of objects, and we used to take them. I mean, I'd give a serious demonstration of clairvoyance, which is what most people would come along to see. But just for the, and I look at, 30th or the 31st, around that time, we'd take along a lot of haunted objects. People used to love that. I suppose if I got onto the owner of that, I could probably still do that, but semi-retired these days and doing a lot of other things that I enjoy, like doing this for you and my YouTube channel. Right, here's an interesting one. I haven't got too much information about it, but it's called When Vincent Met John. It's a play imagining what might have happened had Vincent van Gogh, or Gogh, or whatever you want to call it, always Vincent van Gogh to me, and John Lennon were to meet. That's an interesting thing to hypothesize, isn't it? That's on the 15th of October at the Lichfield Garrick. Garrick. Lovely theatre, the Garrick. I've performed there as well over the years, but it's an interesting one. I might go to that. So if something like that catches your interest, what would happen if Vincent van Gogh and John Lennon met? I'd never I can even conjure up what my sort of happening that would be. He was a good artist, wasn't he, John? He's a very good artist, and yeah, I mean, probably not as great as Vincent, but that might be interesting if you want to check that one out. I might check that out a little bit more in depth and give you a little bit more information on it if I go to see it. I don't know yet. I might do, but yeah, that one could be interesting, couldn't it? Right, let me think what else I've come up with for you. Well, there's a big event at the NEC if you're into camper vans and caravans and all that sort of thing. We've got a caravan, and I've also got a camper van. Never done a lot with my camper van. That's a long story, don't ask me, but I do like it. I've got a VW camper van with, all the things in it and that you can use, and a great little, well, not very little, but a great van, really. And they've been quite a cult purchase for people, haven't they, really? But at the motorhome, actually it's the UK's biggest display of all sorts of new motorhomes, and every new caravan that's available will probably be displayed there. And that's it starts on the 14th and goes through to the 19th of October, and that's at the NEC Birmingham. And you think often with the NEC, you often have to park quite a way from the entrance, don't you? But yeah, that sounds great, doesn't it? That really. Some more good friends of mine have got a special thing coming on Friday the 17th till Sunday, well, right through to Sunday the 2nd of November. Now, I don't normally carry things over, but it's Gandhi's Circus Halloween Spooktacular. Gandhi's Circus returned with a brand new spine-chilling and action-packed Halloween Spooktacular. As I say, from Friday the 17th through to Sunday the 2nd. I've interviewed these guys on my radio show in the past, and I've been to see them at great evenings, and they do a very special thing for that time of the year. Spooktacular, as they say. Right, let's see what else I can come up with for you as we move towards the end of the month, perhaps. Okay. Well, I thought that might be an interesting one. At the Hare and Hounds, a lot of famous bands have played at the Hare and Hounds, King's Eight over the years. You'd be surprised. I'm sure Judas Priest played there, and maybe the original Judas Priest with the great Alan Atkins and KK Downing and what have you. And maybe when Rob Alford joined them as well, I don't know. But who they've got on the 26th is Doctor and the Medics. And I particularly like the version they did of that song, Spirit in the Sky. And I think, the forget it. Bauheim will always be special, won't it? I've said the name wrong, but there you go. But they did a very interesting version that I really liked. And that'd be a good evening now, good performers they are. And I don't sort of promote too much on the sort of tributes. I remember my old friend, the old owner of the Robin saying to me, "Oh, you ain't so keen on tributes." I think some of them are fantastic. They're great bands in their own right. But I always think, well, ain't going to be the same as the real ones, are they? I mean, some are. I mean, if you think of T-Rex to say, and Dalians, they do a fantastic tribute to Mark Bowler. Gosh, yeah, he's so talented. I mean, I met Bowling, and maybe there's a link there in some way between the two of them. I don't know, but they're fantastic. But back to Doctor and the Medics anyway. It's at the Hare and Hounds. A lot of bands have played there over the year. King's Eight. That won't be very expensive, and you'll have a good night. But as I say, in all things, check it out. Now, coming up on Tuesday through to Saturday the 20th, we're already on Tuesday, yesterday, wasn't it? But from yesterday right up to the 25th, you've got Sunny Afternoon. It's an award-winning, really, musical, all about the music and the Kinks. Now, I have to tell you, I'm fantastic fan of the Kinks. To me, I think they were the start of heavy rock, even heavy metal, maybe, if you like. And I'm lucky enough to be quite friendly with Dave Davis, who was the lead guitar player in the Kinks, and his lovely partner. And I often speak to them. It's not the real Kinks, obviously, but I do believe it's a fantastic show. And they're considered one of Britain's most iconic bands who give you wonderful examples of the Kinks music. So Sunny Afternoon, music celebrating the timeless sound, really, of those riffs of Dave Davis and those wonderful lyrics of his brother Ray Davis, the Kinks. Still so meaningful today. Go and see that. You'll enjoy that. Now, another event that's coming up let me get this right now. Oh, again, it's at the Alexandra Theatre again, and it's on from Sunday, the 26th of October. The Rat Pack Swinging at the Sands, which was, of course, in Las Vegas. Now, I have to tell you, obviously, we all know the members of the Rat Pack, don't we? Frank Sinatra, Dean Martin. We know who they are, don't we? And they were fantastic. Sammy Davis Jr., of course, they were brilliant. But I've developed quite a friendship over the years with Dean Martin's daughter, and she always sends me a message at Christmas or Thanksgiving. Of course, I tell her many times we don't really celebrate that, but she does. And I've interviewed her a few times. Lovely, lovely lady. And if you like the swing music, if you liked Dino, Frank Sinatra, Sammy Davis, who didn't? I don't think any performer could not have appreciated those artists. Well, get yourself along again to the Alexandra. I promote that theatre, don't I? One time I used to do a few reviews for them and attend the press evenings, but I don't know whether I'm on that list now anymore. It doesn't matter. Still continue to promote the great theatre that it is. I've always done so. My many years in the media, it's always been my favourite theatre. I like the Grand in Wolverhampton as well, but there you go. Right, what else have we got? Well, everyone likes to go to a haunted building, a haunted castle, don't they? Well, if you can get out to Sudley Castle, now this is in Cheltenham actually, and I wouldn't normally sort of take you that far out of the West Midlands because that's really the hook of the programme. But Halloween at the castle, an epic pumpkin trail across the castle grounds. Now that sounds like a lot of fun, doesn't it? And I think that would be for all ages. And I'm sure if you want to find out the details about that, I'm sure that would be a nice evening to take the family to. And I think you would enjoy that. I do keep picking those things. I hope I pick wisely for you. I don't know. Right. There's also an Halloween spooky tour of Blakesley Hall, I should say, in Birmingham. Now that's on the 29th, but goes right through to Halloween itself on Friday the 31st. Halloween traditions, and you'll be able to listen to spine-tingling stories told by people who apparently know all about the traditions of Halloween, what it really means and what it's about. And they've got all sorts of fantastic stories to tell you about. And the place itself, of course, I struggle with that. Blakesley Hall, get it right, Philip, in Birmingham, definitely haunted within its own right as well. Now, here's something a little bit different. I always do try and find you something that'd be interesting and fun for you. I always do my best. But do you believe in ghost trains? Well, I do, because a few years ago, when I wrote one of my books that was published called Ghosts of the Midlands and How to Detect Them, we were told about a train that was always haunted by a gentleman who went by the name of Claude. And he was often seen in sort of unusual clothing, Victorian clothes, in top hat, stick, and all that sort of stuff. And many people saw Claude on those various trains in that area of Birmingham. Well, they've got a ghost train. If you dare to take a ride in the dark through the haunted tunnels, you can do that. This is actually over in the Severn Valley Railway, Bewdley, near Kidderminster. So I don't know if you're likely to see Claude on that one because it'll be a little bit outside of Birmingham, but it's only over in Kidderminster. And it's a nice place to visit, Bewdley, isn't it? And Severn Valley Railway is always very interested today. I don't know whether you could go along during the day and then perhaps take in the event in the evening. Check it out. I only find places that I think that you'll enjoy. Right, if you fancy another haunted hall, one that I can guarantee you is, and I've got quite a story to tell you. Candlelit Ghost Tour and tour of a mansion that certainly has more than its share of ghosts who live there or carry on some sort of energy presence there. And I'm talking about Aston Hall, fantastic building, right in the centre of Birmingham, and undoubtedly haunted, as the people say. Well, you can go along there and go on a candlelit tour. And now will tell you all about the ghosts and the different things. But I can tell you one myself. Many years ago, when I was a little boy, I went with my mother to Aston Hall, and I was all looking around and looking at the things as you go into the entrance, and I could hear my mum chatting away and talking, and she was chatting to a lady, apparently who was sitting in a chair just inside the building, if you like, as you go into the place, and chatting away with her as if normal. And then I come over and grab my mum's hand and said, "Are you talking to your mum?" And she says, "This lady." I mean, I was a born maiden, but I couldn't see anybody there. To me, there was nobody there. But my mum had a conversation with her. My mum was a fantastic medium, very gifted. And if she says the lady was there and she talked, had a chat to her, then she did. But I think there's lots of other strange goings on and ghosts. I did a video once as well for I think it may have been for probably BBC television or one of those people, small documentary. And they took me all around Aston Hall and thoroughly enjoyed it. Well, that's it, ladies and gentlemen. Have a good Halloween. Don't get too scared of things and learn a little bit about the real meaning of it. And they've come up with a few ideas for you, starting tonight, really, and going on right to the end of the month. Halloween itself, the 31st of October. Us mediums and those who have an understanding of other things believe that the veil between the two worlds is at its thinnest exactly on Halloween, the 31st of October. And of course, those who follow the Wiccan way, the witches, they celebrate it greatly, don't they? I think I've told you enough. I hope I haven't scared you off anything, but I've tried to come up with a lot of places that would be nice for you to visit. And I'll see you again in a month's time. In a month's time. In the meantime, I wish you good luck, good health, and above all, be good to yourself and others, and the same will come back to you. Good night, and God bless.